From the spring of 1978 to the spring of 1979, over 20,000 people demonstrated against the Rocky Flats nuclear weapons plant near Denver, Colorado. Over 500 people were arrested. It was called the Year of Disobedience, and it was galvanized by the same man who 7 years earlier had leaked the Pentagon Papers to the press, helping to end the Vietnam War. Daniel Ellsberg, in his iconic cowboy hat, would become a recognizable figure at Rocky Flats as he helped launch the anti-nuclear weapons movement through non-violent blockades of the railway and symbolic die-ins commemorating the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Rocky Flats was eventually closed, but Daniel Ellsberg continues his mission to rid the world of nuclear weapons.
When you see the devastation of Hiroshima, you are looking at what happens to a city when the detonator of a modern thermonuclear weapon are exploded over that city, with the H-bomb being, the early ones being 1,000 times more powerful. Well, they looked at the fission bomb at that point in 1942, and as it's described by people who were there, at first there was interest in the bomb. They were very startled at the amount of heat that would be released. And within seconds, even within a minute, the expressions of the people changed very much, because the physicists there, who were many Nobel Prize physicists, realized that that heat might be capable of fusing the atoms of nitrogen in the air and the hydrogen in the sea, and that within a microsecond, everything would go.
Those of you who intend to get arrested, we would ask you to please sign up now. Sign up as soon as you can, so we know who is going to get arrested.
This summer, 35 years after the civil disobedience at Rocky Flats, Ellsberg participated in a Hiroshima Day action at Livermore National Laboratories in California, where he enjoyed a certain celebrity status with his fellow protesters.
Outrageous, it's disgusting, it's obscene that a place of learning should be using their talent and their creativity to design weapons that have the capability of ending life on Earth. There's no excuse for it. It shows a very weak instinct for species survival, and not only among Americans but among humans who tolerate this, all of them at risk of the nuclear winter from the weapons designed here. Most people don't realize it, but the threat has not even reduced since earlier periods. To go down from 30,000 weapons or so that the U.S. had some years ago to 1,500 or even to 1,000 sounds like a lot. In fact, it makes no difference to the life of our species if those weapons go off. They would really have to make a serious difference. It would have to go down to the level of tens, or the kind of level, let's say, that China has right now. Less than Israel has, less than Pakistan has right now. Until that time, the prospect of a nuclear winter, which ends most life on Earth, or all large life, all the primates, the mammals, most of the humans, still exists with 1,000 weapons, with 500 weapons, even with 100 weapons. There has been no more serious global problem in my lifetime than ridding the Earth of nuclear weapons, and yet the truth is that this species has acted as though it's not on our list of problems.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. In the name of the state of California, you are ordered to immediately disperse. Failure to do so will result in your immediate arrest.
The myth of the necessity for Hiroshima, the justification for it, the rationale, which has been accepted by most Americans, is sheer 100% false propaganda. There was no necessity from any real point of view to drop those weapons and to start this nuclear arms race. America has been responsible for the 3 greatest acts of terrorism in human history: the firebombing of Tokyo, the bombing at Hiroshima, and the bombing of Nagasaki. And of course has always led the way in an arms race that threatens life on Earth. We are, in short, a terror state. And in that respect, we are a rogue nation. It is not possible to change this situation without ceasing to promote the idea that nuclear weapons are justified in our hands and are necessary in our hands. Neither is true.
You're in violation of California Penal Code Section 647C, trespassing. On behalf of the state of California, I demand that you leave immediately. If you fail to leave, you will be arrested.
I like to be with people who are willing to put their bodies on the line and say to the people at Livermore, you can't do this without arresting Americans. You can't do it except over our bodies. We withdraw our consent from that. It's a sad occasion for having to do it, but this is one of the happier days in my life to be with people who feel that strongly and are willing to change their lives to do this. These are people I want to be with and work with.
Thank you, Daniel, and everybody. Run Ellsberg, the hero.
Some 250 people demonstrated at Livermore that day, many of them participating in a mock die-in to honor those who perished at Hiroshima. 31 people were arrested, including 82-year-old Daniel Ellsberg. It was his 85th arrest for civil disobedience.